Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today, we're at Fielder's Paint and Body. Got to thank a friend of mine, Alan, who owns this absolutely stunning 2009 C6 Z06 Corvette. And wait until we have Kerry hop into the interior. I'm gonna have him just hop in there later on with the gimbal and the camera on there to show you the mileage on this car, because you probably won't believe me if I don't show you. So let's talk a little bit about this car. It was quite a change from the C5 to the C6 when this model first came out. And it starts right here on the front end with these headlights. These were the first exposed headlights on a Corvette since the year 1962. So no longer having those flip up kind of headlights that a lot of the Corvettes had. Tell me down in the comments, guys, what do you prefer? Do you like the exposed headlights like this, or do you like the flip up style headlights? And something else that I really like here about this Corvette is that everything is active. There is no faux vent, there is no faux grille, none of that. Everything allows air either in or out. So let's take a look at a couple of these and look at exactly what they are. Of course, you've got the 5-spoke wheels right here. Still had the chrome wheels, very popular at the time. Got the badging for the Z06 right here. But here's our first vent right here. This is a heat extractor, so this is actually allowing heat to come out of the engine compartment. But as we move back a little bit further right here, you actually have ductwork right here. This vent right here, that is for cooling the rear brakes. I really like that, because on a lot of cars these days, you don't have those active vents. Really cool. This is a fixed top right here. Something we don't have now on the Vettes either, whether you get the coupe or of course the convertible for the C8, but that actually is fixed right there. So something that's very interesting. And another thing that I found interesting here, let's take a look at the remote real quick just so we can show you what all is here. That's what the remote looked like for the C6 Corvette, for at least this model. But the interesting thing here is that according to my research, the C7 Corvette has 15 cubic feet of cargo space, but here, max cargo space is said to be 22. I haven't measured that, and I'm sure if that's wrong, I'll hear all about it in the comments from the YouTube correction Nazi community. I'm still gonna make a t-shirt that says, "Don't be a YouTube correction Nazi," and some of you will buy it. And some of you might even say, can you make one that says, "I am a YouTube correction Nazi"? Tell me down in the comments what you think about that. So I'm gonna have Kerry come over here, kind of show you the interior right here, and just give you a little tour of what's here. Right here is going to be where the battery compartment is. You know, kind of getting into more of that racing flair with the battery being in the rear of the car. And then over here is just something simple, but just so you can see what's there, a little storage compartment right there. But one of the things when you get over here, I'm gonna give Kerry a workout here. So let's take a look at what we have as far as how you get into the interior on this particular model, for those who may not know. The same thing as the C7. Just got the little patch right there that you kind of put your hand on right there. That's what you just touch to open the door. But the challenge with that is if the battery goes dead, what do you do? So let's say you walked up and you said, "Oh man, my battery must be dead because the car's not opening." So we'll have Kerry swing back over this way, and there is a release kind of hidden away right here. See that? See how that worked? I like that. That's kind of a cool little thing. Let's see if I can get that back in there. There we go. You can kind of hide that away. Kind of neat. So if you're wondering, maybe you're a new C6 owner and you're wondering about this. So what's going to happen now, if you'll come around on this side, like I said, we're going to get Kerry's steps in today, see if he has his tracker on him. So just show the door right there. I'm going to pull on that. See what happened? The door automatically opens. So if you run out of battery, the battery dies. That's pretty cool. And you also have a release right down here as well. It's pretty much the same thing as the C7. There's a release just inside the driver's foot box right there. Same thing on the passenger side, I believe. We haven't looked over there, so if I'm wrong about that, I'll hear about that too. But the thing that was really impressive for this generation of the Z06 is what's under the hood. And you probably already got a glimpse of something else that's unique on this particular model that you don't have on the C8, and that's the fact that it has a 6-speed manual transmission. Now here's something interesting that I found about this 7-liter engine, the LS7. It's not really a 427. It's a 427.8. That's the cubic inches of this motor. And at the time, this was an extremely stout engine combination, very powerful. Really, at the time when it all came out, was the most powerful for Chevrolet at 505 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. And I think the thing that impresses me the most is the fact that this car does have the 6-speed manual transmission, but yet it was still running the quarter mile in the 1170 range. That's 11.7 for you modern guys. That's drag racers pronounced the whole time. Just kind of messing with you a little bit there. But the speed also impressed me. 125 miles per hour. That's a big speed for that kind of an ET. So very impressive. And it also features a dry sump oiling system. So if you don't know the difference between the dry and the wet sump, what exactly is that? There's actually a tank here that holds oil independent of the oil tank here in the engine compartment right here. So what happens, instead of the oil residing in the oil pan and the crankshaft having to turn through that oil that actually does rob some horsepower, believe it or not, the engine doesn't have oil pumped into it the same way that it would with that wet sump. With the dry sump, it's basically sprayed into the engine. It's kind of a whole different combination, but again, making horsepower. So a lot of features and functionality here that really kind of set the tone for the future of the Corvette. Of course, you still had the forward opening hood, because obviously there wasn't a frunk here like the C8. And speaking of that, tell me down in the comments, guys, do you want to see a return of the front engine Corvette? We'll have to see what happens in the future with that, or would you rather see the C8 or the C9 remain a mid-engine model? It's always interesting to hear about that. Okay guys, like I said, here we go with the interior tour. And we're on flat ground here, so I can probably drop that, but of course you do have that sound you just don't get with a lot of cars these days. That. Setting the parking brake. Pretty cool. Got the Z06 logo here on the headrest on these seats. And I like the fact that the seats here, we'll let Carrie kind of give you a good shot of this seat right here. There's some good bolstering here, but it's not so much that you're going to be uncomfortable unless you weighed 400 pounds maybe. I don't know if a 400-pound man could get in this car. That's another thing that changed from the C5 to the C6 is that there's more overall cabin space. The interior is larger than it was. And there is a lot of space here. I like that. Of course, you're going to have that shifter right there for the manual 6-speed transmission. And there are some differences here. I did a 2008 C6 not long ago, but you'll notice that it doesn't have navigation, so there's no screen right here or anything like that. But if you're somebody who maybe says, man, I don't like not having a CD player, this car is for you, because there's your CD player right there. Very cool. And just kind of an overall, we'll say, more simplistic maybe cockpit here. You don't have all the bells and whistles, a lot of things that people will say, that's just more stuff to break and all of that. Very simple right here. I like the fact that when you're driving down the road and you're rowing your way through the gears and you're thinking it's time to get real serious, you can reach down and just turn traction control off. There's the button for that. It's so simple. Okay guys, before we end the video, just wanted to give you a quick look at what everything looked like with the headlights on. Also got the hazard lights on so you can see the blinkers in action, and the parking lights as well. Kind of a nice setup down here. Hopefully these aren't too bright. It is what it is. And one more thing I don't want to forget to not only mention and to show is the fact that this car also had a heads-up display. It's, at the time, that was just cutting edge technology, but now when I look at it compared to the modern day heads-up displays, it makes me think of the clock that was on my parents' shelf in the den when I was a kid growing up in the 1980s. Just kind of that color and everything. Not to put that anything down or anything like that, it's just what comes to mind. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you want to see maybe some older cars, not that this car is that old, being 12 years old, but if you want to see some cars that maybe aren't brand new, tell me down in the comments what you want to see me feature so I can make that happen for you. And I always appreciate you taking the time to watch. Thanks to Carrie for helping out with the camera duties today. And of course, I always enjoy giving you taking the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. We're going to shoot this in one scene, so we're not going to do any retakes, even if I stutter and mess up. Even though Kerry's got a big smile on his face, that's kind of funny. Maybe he'll be in this position one day and I'll be filming. What do you think about that? Do you want to see Kerry in front of the camera? Anyway, we'll see you in the next video, guys. If you enjoyed this video, here's some more videos right over here that you can watch, and I'll see you there.